Right, so we're going to use this Excel program to document some stats about the Commonwealth Games. So I found some very easy stats to get, which is Commonwealth Games all-time records. Records? No, I think it was medals. Right, okay. Just this one here. So when this fires up, we're going to get this, which is great. So just take from 1 through to, we'll probably just get the top 20 because otherwise it's just a lot of rows to deal with. So I've just highlighted all that. Control C on the keyboard to copy, go across, and then I'm just going to paste Control V. We get these sweet little flags, so I just click on each one and hit delete. So just click delete, click delete. Get the idea. And then we'll just tidy up this format quickly, and then we will be able to start generating some stats and go from there. Right. Click delete. Right. Okay. So obviously this is not really in a nice format to read. I also want to get rid of this last row because I'd want to calculate it ourselves because I don't know if I've got it correct or not. So we want to resize all these rows. So if I click in the corner, it highlights the entire Excel sheet. And then if I double click between two rows, it will resize them. And if I double click that way, fine. I will stretch this and then double click that way and double click that way. Okay, there we go. And then what I want to do is I want to change the formatting here, because what's going to happen is each time I click on one of these, it's going to open up a web page and take me through to the Commonwealth results to do with that country, which is kind of nice but really annoying. So click B to highlight, and I right mouse click, and then there's this option, remove links. That is what you want to do. And I'll just fix up this no one because it's just annoying to look at. Righto, let's tidy up the table. So I've just selected everything, and we can change the font if we want. I'm going to put it up to size 10. I say everything's black, everything is bold and then unbolded, nothing's underlined. So everything should be looking kind of the same. And then I want to get rid of these borders. So if I just right mouse click, go format cells, borders, none. Okay, done. Why is that like that? I think it's got a fill of white in there. Fill, no fill, there we go. Okay, so now what we can do is we're going to start put some titles in and space these things, and then I will start doing some calculations. So this first row here, I'd actually want to put a title in because I want to say the rank, country, the amount of games they've competed in, and then I'm pretty sure if I look back, gold through to bronze. Alright, so if I right mouse click on the one and go insert, then in here I could type in rank, which spills over. So if I double click that, it'll space it, then we'll go there. Country, and then games they're competed in, gold, silver, bronze. Right, and I'll just resize them. I'm actually going to drag them a bit, so just a bit nicer to look at. And then what I'm going to do is I'll just grab all of them and tell them to sit in the middle, because it's just a little bit easier for me to look at. And I want this top row to be bolded, so I can click that top row, press bold, or press Control B, does the same thing. Alright, so what I want to put in this row now is total medals, and I'm going to work out what the total medals are, and then I'm going to say average medals per game, and then I will say estimated total medals for, when is the next Commonwealth Games? I think it is this year. Right. So we'll put it in as that, yeah. Okay. And we'll start working this. Okay, so to work a total out, there's two ways you can do it. You can say equals, starts any calculation, click this one, and you can manually plus each one of them, which you can do that way. Or there's a function called sum, which sums up all your numbers. So we just drag select, sum, enter. Either way, once one calculation is done, if you move the mouse over the bottom corner, change to a black plus, you can then drag the formula and it will work out the totals for all of these rows together. So this is for the rows of 2, which is that's 2. And if I go down one, this is for the rows of 3. So if I click in here, you can say it's just grabbed that chunk there. So the joys of using Excel, it means if I had 20 countries or I had 40 countries, essentially it's not going to take much longer at all to get this information in once I've done the calculation. Now this green thing in here, what's that? Formula cell refers to range. Yeah, okay, nothing important at all. Right, to work out the average medals per game, effectively, we might as well say, well, this country's done 20, but this one's only done 12. I imagine it's something to do with apartheid. Then, essentially, what we can do is then just say, okay, well, the amount of games they've played, they've been to, divided by the total medals they've earned. So we can say equals total, oops, then your slash as you divide, that one there. So they're earning 110.9. 0.9 of a medal is not really making any sense. So what we'll do is we will say, let's format this, right mouse click, format cells, go to number, change to number, decimal places and 0. And then we can drag that formula down. And it keeps the same formatting too. So there you go, there's that small step, which is, well, does it get an action replay? So equals the starting calculation, that one divided by the amount of games. There. Right. Estimated totals for total medals. Okay, so this is basically what we're going to say is I'm going to take their current total and add 5% to what they've got, and that'll be the new total medal I'm reckoning the country's going to have for the next year. So to add an additional 5% to something is quite easy, but for a lot of students they just, I don't know, they make percentages a lot harder than they should be. So let's write right, okay. Percentage and percentage as a decimal. Okay. So this one here, if I'm gonna write okay, hold on. Let's format that as a percentage. So if I want to say 5%, I say equals that there, and I'll just format this to be a number with 2 decimal places. Right, so that is what a decimal of 5% is. So if it was 12%, it'd be 0.12. If it was 20, 70, 50% is 5%, sorry, 50% is 0.5. Okay, so this hopefully should make sense in terms of what you think a percentage is. Essentially is just, all you do is you treat the number there and just move the decimal place 1 over. Now if it's a single digit number like 7, then we would just we would assume it would be 0.7% is what we've written in it. It's kind of how it would be viewed. So you can see it's there, because if it was just 0.7 it would be 70%. So anyway, in terms of if I want to get 5% of a number, I would, or 7%, what have we got here? We would say whatever that number is. Okay, so let's say equals, let's shrink this up. Shrink this up. Right, okay. So equals, and we'll say total metals times by 0.07. That is 7% of that number. And I mean, if I really wanted to test it with something that I knew what the answer was going to be, let's change this to 10%. So 10% there is looking pretty clear. Now that's giving me 10% of a number. Now if I want to make a number equal itself, so if I times something by 1, it equals itself, you know, like 100 times 1 is 100, or, you know, 56, whatever, times by 1 is. So that's saying I want to see what the full 100% of that number is. Okay, which is, there you go, it's 1. So if I want to get it to be 7% bigger or 5% bigger, which I mentioned over here, then we're just taking this and it is keeping it 100% the same plus an additional 5%. Okay, so then effectively in here all we're saying is take this number and times it by 1.05, and I can remove one of the decimals, drag the formula, and there is my percentage increase to say that is what I estimate by the time they do their next round of the Commonwealth Games. I'm reckoning Australia will be on 2,329 medals. So hopefully the whole percentage thing makes sense for students to look at, and seeing it translated like that and having it calculated through. But yeah, so that's a good way to get stats and tinker with the numbers, and you can change formatting, etc, etc, etc.